Let's bring in Democratic Congresswoman Angie Craig of Minnesota. Congresswoman, thanks for your time. First, I want to get your reaction to all these resignations in the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as the DOJ Civil Rights Division, which we reported over the Trump administration's handling of that deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
Well, these U.S. attorneys are witnessing what all Minnesotans are witnessing right now, which is Trump and Kristi Noem's ICE terrorizing the people of Minnesota, literally citizens and non-citizens. It's some of the most egregious behavior by any administration that I've ever witnessed in my entire lifetime. And these U.S. attorneys, 6 U.S. attorneys who resigned, are patriots. They refuse to be part of activity where the federal government is not going to allow our state and local law enforcement officials to participate in an investigation. And also, they were asked to investigate Renee Good, who was the victim in this ICE shooting, and her wife in Minnesota. And I'm frankly proud of those U.S. attorneys who said, I can't be a part of this. No one should be a part of this.
We have seen an increase in clashes involving federal agents deployed to Minnesota since Renee Good's death. Protesters pinned to the ground, aggressive arrest scenes, tear gas being deployed. There's this moment, agents smashing car windows before dragging people from their vehicles to arrest them. DHS says the people in this car were stalking and obstructing ICE law enforcement. Minnesota, we know, isn't that far from America's northern border, but Congresswoman, have you ever seen immigration enforcement like this before in your home state?
I don't think any city in America or any state in America has ever seen this type of lawless behavior by federal law enforcement. I'm hearing some of the same stories in my congressional district. 2 days ago, a special education teacher who pulled up into her school parking lot. Her windows were smashed. She was taken and she was detained for 12 hours. We are hearing reports of schools where immigrant communities are refusing to come to school, whether they're citizens or not, because they are afraid of masked ICE agents coming into our schools and taking them away from their families. And every American should be outraged. Every Minnesotan should be outraged. And at the same time, we should continue to peacefully protest what's happening. My colleagues Ilhan Omar and Kelly Morrison from Minnesota on Saturday morning attempted to perform our congressional duties to inspect a federal building, the Whipple building in Minneapolis. And we were met by armed ICE agents. A handful of protesters were there. And while we were there, ICE agents pepper sprayed both those protesters as well as the press. I've never seen such an out of control agency. And that's why as soon as I leave all of you here today, I'm going to be joining a group of members of Congress to file articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem. She's lawless and she's violating the law. We can't have this in America.
Yeah, on that issue of articles of impeachment, it does seem that there are greater numbers to support this move than others we've seen that have been largely symbolic. But I do wonder, what do you see as the next step, given Republicans still have the majority in the House? Realistically, would it require taking back the House in terms of moving forward with those impeachment articles and an investigation?
Well, I have very little confidence that we're going to find 4 patriots in the Republican Party right now. They've all become acolytes of Donald Trump and this administration. Taking back the House majority is absolutely critical in 2026. Taking back the Senate majority, which people say is more of a long shot, is much more of a long shot, sure. But what they're doing in this country, I believe, will mobilize Democrats, will mobilize independents. And some of my Republican constituents are reaching out to me to say, we don't recognize this America. So we're going to have to use democracy in this country to save democracy in the end. And that's the message that I'm giving to the people of Minnesota.
What else can Congress do to rein in ICE and the behaviors that you're seeing? I know there's this funding deadline coming up. What kinds of conversations are you having with your colleagues?
Well, there's no way in hell I'm voting to give 1 cent to Trump and Kristi Noem's ICE. I won't send one penny to these people who are terrorizing the people of Minnesota. We also should pass a bill that will prevent them from going onto schools, into churches, into daycares. The places that they are choosing to terrorize Minnesotans and Americans is truly just so disturbing and disgusting. It's almost unbelievable if we weren't witnessing with our own eyes. ICE agents should wear body cameras. Body cameras are worn by law enforcement in Minnesota. They should walk into these situations trying to de-escalate, not escalate the situation, which is, of course, with our own eyes, we could see what happened in the killing of Renee Good.
Just yes or no, do you think Congress should shut down the government over ICE and DHS funding to make a statement?
Look, I'm not in the room with leadership, but what I can tell you, what is happening in America, the path that we are traveling certainly reminds me of many of the images that we saw in the 1930s in Germany. And we should stand up to this lawless administration. And right now, nothing should be off the table.
Congresswoman Angie Craig, thank you very much for your time.